when the president saw these initials, he's like, "Who the hell's initials are these?" And they went, "Oh, it's the kid in the mailroom." And then I got called into the office and I got yelled at actually by the guy. He said, you know what it takes to be an agent? You don't even have the experience, and you brought this show in. How did you even know about this show? He said you were yelling at everybody in the Tuesday meeting, and I was taking care of some mail, and I overheard you. So I figured I'd help you out. So from that point on, it was just a steady rise. This company was called ATI, American Talent International, the owner, and all of a sudden we were one of the biggest agencies in North America. It actually took on Rush.
You know, when I'm recording these podcasts, every once in a while, there's one that you kind of circle on the calendar and really look forward to. And for multiple reasons. First of all, this gentleman's a good friend of mine for many, many years now. I think he's an extremely talented designer, but he's also a really funny and great guy. And I just love spending time with him, both on the podcast and in person. So today on Geese of Gear, we're talking with a true legend of live production, Howard Ungerleider, the man behind the lights for Rush for over 40 years. From their very first tour in 1974 to massive world stages, Howard helped define what a rock show could look and feel like, blending music, technology, and pure imagination. And with Rush announcing a return to the road next year, with their 50-something tour, we're diving into the stories, the innovation, and the magic that shaped one of rock's most iconic live experiences. So please join me and welcome Mr. Howard Ungerleider.
Howard, how are you today?
Marcel, I am fine. How about you?
I'm friggin' fantastic.
Awesome.
It's another day. I feel like we just did this, but
This is Groundhog Day, buddy.
this is Groundhog Day. So just so everyone else knows what we're talking about, we tried doing this yesterday and one or both of us had some sort of a weird internet problem and we just kept disappearing from the screen and all kinds of fun things happening. So we just decided, let's try another day. And
Perfect.
so yeah, here we are on day 2 of recording Howard's fabulous podcast. So Howard, first I must ask you, you live downtown Toronto, right?
Yeah, I live right on the lake in downtown.
So you got to experience this whole mayhem of the World Series over the past couple of weeks.
World Series mania.
Yeah. I'm sure it was pretty fun. Like, how far are you from the Sky Dome?
About, I would say 3 blocks away.
Wow. So people are walking by your house, throwing drinks and partying.
Dressed up. Yeah. Don't forget, it was Halloween also. So the combination of all the Blue Jays and the Halloween costumes.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm not a baseball fan, but all my friends who were either going to the games or certainly into it, and all my family, my sister's a huge baseball fan and stuff. And so I've been paying attention and I've been a bit patriotic, like whenever it's Canada versus the U.S., even though I've spent more time in the U.S. than Canada at this point in my life, I generally go for Canada, whether it's the Olympics or, whatever it is. I usually, other than politics gets a little weird, but generally I'm choosing Canada over the US in all sports and stuff. So I was definitely going for the Blue Jays, even though I didn't watch a minute of the series, but I was cheering in the background.
It was the best World Series I've ever experienced, actually.
And you're a fan, right?
Oh, yeah. I love watching the Blue Jays 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not a big sports guy, but I just love when it gets down to playoffs and World Series.
Was that because of Getty?
No. It's just when I was really young and I was growing up in New York, my grandfather used to take me to the Polo Grounds.
Okay.
And, I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't.
You're not a baseball guy. It was one of the most iconic places where the Yankees first started playing before they built Yankee Stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he used to take me there, and I was always interested in
Huh.
baseball. I actually played baseball in high school.
Wow. Yeah. See, I mean,
Yeah,
I grew up in Western Canada and it just wasn't a thing. It was never a thing. Like I remember, my cousins and stuff from Eastern Canada were all either Expos or Blue Jays fans. But I was always a hockey guy. I
oh
never
yeah.
got into baseball in my whole life and still not today. So,
Well,
but yeah,
hockey is a religion here in Canada.
it certainly is. It certainly is. And
Yeah,
my team here in Florida, it's been fun because I get up to Canada end of May, beginning of June. I get to my house up there. And of course, the last 2 years it's been the US against Canada. And when it's my team in the US, being the Florida Panthers, and they're going against the team that I was always, a big rival of because I'm a
yeah,
Flames fan, so I couldn't go for the Oilers. There was just no way it was going to happen. So I got beat up pretty good the last 2 years because, basically the final series
yeah.
with Florida against Edmonton happened right as I got there both years. And so it was a lot of fun. I'd go out with my Panthers hoodie on or T-shirts or whatever, and it'd be like, Panthers, you're in the
Yeah.
wrong place for that. And I'm like, I don't
No
know.
drinks. No drinks for you, buddy.
Yeah, it's funny. But I took a lot of shit though. Even just going out for walks during the day and stuff, people would be like, "You're wearing the wrong shirt there, buddy." Which is funny because I mean, anything south of like Red Deer, you didn't used to mention the Oilers. Like they just were not a thing. Everyone hated them, right? Except for people in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And but I guess Canada being as patriotic as it is and anti-American and stuff right now, like they all jumped on board with the
I
Oilers there.
don't think
So
they're very anti-American. They're not liking what they're seeing, but they're not
yeah,
anti-American.
well, I just shortened it a little without getting into
Yeah.
all the details. The
Usually,
anti-American thing. I don't think. No, I mean, I certainly don't get that feeling when I'm up there, and people know that I live in the United States or whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's more anti-Trump than it is anti-American, obviously. There's a lot of people
Well,
up there that don't like him, except in Alberta. In Alberta, he's pretty popular, but
he's very popular in Alberta, especially.
yeah, because Alberta is quite conservative.
Yeah. I stay away from all those politics. I don't
I
like it.
try to. Yeah, I try to. It's, I live in Florida, so it's a
Oh,
little
yeah.
tough to, stay away from politics, I guess. But I mean, you know, with our industry as passionate as it is and everything, I don't like to get into any of that stuff. It doesn't
No.
matter to me. I'm not going to choose friends based on politics or customers based on politics. It's just not how I operate. So
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
actually,
Well,
yeah, it was actually never really a thing for me. So the
no.
other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is I know for the last few years, anyways, you've been pretty focused on another four-letter band, Tool,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think they're a client of your business, right? Your laser company.
Yes. Oh, we have a company. I have a partner and myself. We have a company called Production Design International,
Yeah,
and we do lasers. We're basically a laser company.
yeah.
And we've done acts like Foo Fighters. We do Tool since 2006.
Wow.
And we do bands like DJs like Kygo and some. We do the Veld Festival up here.
Wow.
We do a lot,
Yeah.
and a lot of motion pictures. So they know the company's been around since 1994, so it's about 32 years now.
That's
And
crazy. So
I
many people
know,
I think of you as just a lighting designer, right? And
yeah,
you've been a production manager and you've been so many different things in touring, but also, you've had this laser company. Like you were doing lasers, I remember before lasers were cool, back when it was weird guys in lab coats that did lasers.
yeah. Well,
And
something. Speaking of the weird guys in lab coats, I was tour managing for a friend of mine, Blue Oyster Cult, and they had laser, and they had a guy named Dr. David Alfonte out there.
yeah,
And he had one of the old, the old school lasers that we all owned at one point in time. where it was, water and power joining together into the power supply.
Yeah.
Because you had to water cool the lasers.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. I mean, you had to be an electrician and a plumber back then.
Yeah.
And you had to carry like 600 pounds of equipment, cases that would weigh like 600 pounds. You need forklifts to move it. It was kind of the beginning of the laser revolution. And there were companies out there like Laser Media.
Yeah.
And it was just it was pretty fantastic back then. A lot of work.
Yeah.
And now it has been revolutionized to the point where it's like you can plug it into a wall outlet.
Yeah, they're self-contained boxes, and even the software has gotten much better, and the control systems and everything have gotten better. The scanning devices have gotten better. All of it, just like moving lights and anything else, right? Technology advances. Yeah.
So now I'm known as a laser salesman now. It's like
that's funny.
It's kind of funny. People go, "Do you do lights?" Well, we don't want you doing lights. You're a laser guy. We'll get our own lighting guy.
That's funny.
That's fine.
Yeah. Hey, no problem. I'll just sit over here and smoke a cigar and do lasers then. How's that?
Yeah. I remember doing an interview with a local, a Canadian band up here. And they said, "Well, who have you done before for lighting?" And I said, "Well, I've done Rush for their whole career." And they went, "Oh, can you tell me something that you've done that's new?" And I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
"Really?" And,
yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Anybody contemporary? Had you done anything with, Tragically Hip at the time?" And I went, "Yeah, I actually have done some stuff with Tragically Hip." I said, "Well, yeah, we're looking for a much younger person to do lighting."
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, "Well, okay, and then, that's what you'll get."
Yeah. Should I sue you now or a little later? That's wild. Have you done anyone, younger than Rush? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
Who's more famous than Rush in Canada? Maybe Justin Bieber or something, but not very many people are bigger than Rush in Canada.
No,
so
not that people want a year right now. I mean, it's like, it's a whole new world, since EDM has come into play, and I'm noticing a lot of the young lighting designers, that's all they really grew up knowing. EDM shows. So whoever they do, it just looks like a glorified EDM show.
Kind of does, doesn't it?
It
like
does,
that is getting, I don't want to bag on lighting designers or anything, but I find that whether it's a country show, a rock show, a pop show, so many of them are just completely, ubiquitous. They look the same. It's.
I mean, and the creative lighting design.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people still doing it that are out there. Like I love Tobias Rylander. He's like great,
Who's he work with? I don't know him.
No, he used to work with Roy Bennett for a long time.
I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he has his own company. He does the 1975 and a bunch of other acts, and he's just really innovative.
Yeah.
And and so is Roy for that matter. And push the envelope. Mark Brickman is another one. Pushes the envelope, and I love to push the envelope.
What defines excellence? Is it found in form, function, or sheer strength? Perhaps it calls for more. It's unconventional, searching beyond what can be seen. It moves with grace, intent, and versatility, while others are content to remain unchanged. A true hero rejects the ordinary and embraces transformation. They ascend and become the paragon.
Yeah, but yet some of those guys are people who struggle to get work, and
we all struggle to get work.
No, but it's weird. Like that to me is weird. Like if I was a young band going out, I'd want the guy that did Rush or Pink Floyd or, any of these iconic artists with hugely complicated shows and stuff. Like if you can do that, you can do my act for sure. Right. So, that's another weird thing about our business right now is there are so many talented, like incredibly talented, legendary sort of people who are just kind of being shelved right now.
I know.
And I don't see it happening as much in audio. Like you still see a lot of older front of house engineers out there, but less lighting people. And that's tragic, you know, because I'd still rather see Howard Ungerleider or Cosmo Wilson or Peter Morris light a rock show than, you know, Joey Smith, the guy that just, you know, came out of high school or whatever. And that's nothing against young designers, but you got to earn your way up, you know?
And those guys are worth mentioning because they're great, you know? It's like,
yeah.
you know, there's a handful of great designers out there. And even some young, like Matt Kaminsky is a good designer.
Yeah.
You know, he's a young guy and he's great. And there are a lot of great young guys. You just have to find them.
Matt's going to love that you just said that. He's going to, like, he's a
good guy, you know?
Yeah, Matt is a good dude.
Yeah.
You just say that because he's a hog guy, though, don't you?
No.
Are you still a hog guy?
Yeah. There's a reason for that.
What is that?
The reason is the physical structure of the console.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've been on MA boards, you know, and I just don't like where where they put the hand rest up against those touch buttons. I'm a pretty hands-on guy with the touch buttons.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like to use an expansion wing, and Hog has expansion wings, which are great. And the buttons on the Hog, I originally, you know, when it was a high-end product, I actually steered the process of getting those touch buttons because Able was using those same touch buttons on their consoles, and I used to have Able consoles prior to that. So I made Hog put in those same touch buttons. They had a little click to it. But I find on the MAs, the buttons are very sensitive, and they have a little dip on the top, and if you hover your hand over it, the lights will start flashing, and
wow,
it just
It's funny, you know, like you guys are all very like creatures of habit in a sense, you guys being people who are running these consoles, lighting director folks. You know, when they went from the 2 to the 3, like a lot of it was just syntax that people freaked out about. You know, it was just like, it was first you do this, then you do this. Oh, well, on the new one, first you do this twice, and then you do this. And, you know, when it's stuff that you just have muscle memory on, and all of a sudden they've changed all of that, people rebelled against it for literally years. Like COVID certainly didn't help either. But
well, it's like, you know, now now the consoles, this button does this, and hundreds of other things.
Yeah.
Or you could have it over here, and it can do the exact same thing as this button over here.
Yeah.
So there's so many variables that you can use that it could be overwhelming to some people.
Yeah.
You know, and you know,
well, especially us older guys who don't like that much change all at once. You know, don't make me relearn how to use my computer. You know, please. Hey, listen,
I was invited once to fly the space shuttle simulator. I had the opportunity to go there, and my co-pilot was John Young, one of the original pilots of the space shuttle.
That's wild.
You know, and I looked in the shuttle. I was looking around, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, all these buttons that are on here look like they're from the 1950s or 60s aircraft. And I said, I was thinking this would be so high tech, you know, it's the space shuttle.
Right.
So I look over at John Young, and I said, hey, is there any reason why all these controls look really old? And he looked at me and he said, yeah, there is a reason. The reason is we know they work.
That's
just
true
like
too.
That.
Huh? That's true too.
They had the test of time, and that's what it was. So yeah, I'll use a Hog because I know it works.
Because it's comfortable.
It works what I want to do on it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, that pair of jeans too that you just love, you know, they just feel right, and you've worn them in perfectly and everything else.
Yeah.
But have you moved to the new Hogs yet?
Not yet. I'm still on the 4.
Yeah.
Because I know it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. And
yeah, I get it, man. I get it. And you know, I don't know why the whole world went to MA3 and MA2 and all that stuff. I guess, you know, it does something for them that they thought other things didn't or whatever. I have a theory in my head because, now that Avo is owned by Roby, and Avo is kind of the odd man out right now. Like, as hard as they try and as big a manufacturer and powerful as Roby is, it's not easy to get people to use a different console.
No.
It's really, really hard. It's like an operating system on a computer. Try and convert Windows people to Mac or whatever. It's hard. It's very hard to do because you're making people, again, change your entire habits, how you do things, right?
Well,
And
I think most of the young generation, the console of choice when they were coming into, their own was the grandma.
yeah,
And, and they learned their trade on that console. So they'll always use that console.
yeah.
And it became a very popular console.
Yeah. Well, and you on the other hand, and me, like I remember being at Upstaging the first time I saw the Hog One. It was Nick Sholem getting ready for the Eagles, and saw him working out the Hog One, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And I met Nils, and it was really cool. And then I remember seeing the Hog Two shortly after, and that just really revolutionized consoles. Like, it just changed the whole industry. Like, suddenly people could make money as programmers, and they were getting paid pretty well all of a sudden, right? And
I think I used almost every board that was out there. I even invented my own boards. If you get it.
I remember, with C Factor, right?
Yeah, with C Factor.
Yeah.
I had boards that had joysticks on it, pin matrices, chases to the pin matrices.
What was that C Factor board called?
Well, the one you're thinking of was the light coordinator, but I never used that.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you were part of the person who designed that.
No, I designed the earlier consoles.
Yeah.
Before that, actually before automation.
Yeah.
And I created these custom boards. They're still hanging on the wall at C Factor right now.
I remember first time I ever went through C Factor with Bob, and it was like 1991, maybe 92. Yeah. And he was showing me those consoles and saying, yeah, we built these things for Rush. And I was like, wow, me being the Canadian bass player, singer guy, it was all in awe. I didn't know you yet. And so that was pretty exciting.
Those were exciting times, I mean, when I started doing Rush, I just had turned 22. So I was, fairly young. And before that, I was an agent in New York. I started as delivering teas and coffee.
I don't think a lot of people know that story. I know you told it on my podcast before, and I was blown away by it. But yeah, you were an agent sitting in your office. Well, you didn't have an office because you were delivering teas and coffees.
Well, before, I was delivering teas and coffee, and I was taking care of the mail. I was in the mailroom.
Yeah.
And then, they would have their Tuesday afternoon meetings or morning meetings. And all the agents would get yelled at by the presidents of the company because they didn't bring in enough of the act's work. And I overheard it one day, and I went out and I secured a gig for Fleetwood Mac and turned in a contract to the contract department. And they said, where's your deposit on this? And I said, oh, I didn't get one. They said, we're not turning this in till you get a deposit. Go back and tell them you want a certified check for at least half of this. I said, okay.
From Fleetwood Mac.
For Fleetwood Mac was a Fleetwood Mac package.
Wow.
They had a band called Flash opening for them at the time. And so I put the package together, and I received the deposit from this. It was a university, and I put it in, and they put my initials on it. And when the president saw these initials, he's like, who the hell's initials are these? And they went, oh, it's the kid in the mailroom. And then I got called into the office and I got yelled at actually by the guy. He said, you know what it takes to be an agent? You don't even have the experience, and you brought this show in. How did you even know about this show? He said, you were yelling at everybody in the Tuesday meeting, and I was taking care of some mail, and I overheard you. So I figured I'd help you out. So from that point on, it was just a steady rise.
Wow. That's amazing. How the hell did you get Fleetwood Mac? Like, how did that come together?
It was one of their bands that they represented.
Yeah.
Agents represent, they sign acts
Yeah.
to their company. And this company was called ATI, American Talent International. The owner, they had 3 partners in there, Jeff Franklin, a guy named Saul Sapian, and Ira Blacker. The 3 of them ran the company. But one day, Franklin went to England and signed 60 bands and brought it back.
Damn.
And all of a sudden, we were one of the biggest agencies in North America.
Wow. That's
And they're the ones
incredible.
that actually took on Rush. And, they said to me, I guess because I was probably the youngest guy there, and they said, get in my office. We want to talk to you. And I said, yeah. So he said, okay, I have an offer for you. So I said, I have 2 offers. I said, what's that? He goes, you can get on a plane in a week, go up to Canada, and work for a club band called Rush. And I said, what's the other one? He goes, you're fired. You pick.
Oh, damn. Yeah, those are
So
good
I basically
options.
was just told I had to go up there, so I did.
In hindsight, you
And
made a pretty good choice.
I didn't even know who the band was back then.
Yeah, well, no one
they hadn't
really
even
did
come
they?
out, really. They
Yeah, no one
had
did.
one album, and I guess it was played at WMMS in Cleveland, who broke Rush, by Donna Halper, who was the person there at the time that was spinning the
Program director.
tunes, and yeah, program director, and the rest was history. Cliff Bernstein was at Mercury Records, heard it, loved it, and she put Cliff together to sign Rush to Mercury Records in '74. And that's what I was injected into it in July of '74. So when I
And
walked
there
in,
was no internet or anything, so it's not like you could just go out and do research. Who are these guys in Rush or whatever? So you
no.
just walked in completely blind, right?
And not only was there no internet, there was no drummer. Because
Ah,
John Rutsey, their original
right.
drummer, had left the band,
Yeah,
and they were auditioning drummers, right?
right.
So, so it was
And
quite
so what were
interesting.
you being sent there to do? Just babysit?
Tour manage,
Okay.
get them ready to tour, because they were playing club circuits across Canada. So they really hadn't had any professional touring, and I had a bunch of professional touring, working for the agency, and they would send me all over the place, collecting money from promoters that, didn't pay the bands back then.
Funny.
Yeah, it was a really good experience, nice experience.
So
And
today's episode is brought to you by Mainlight, a trusted name in dry hire lighting and stage equipment rentals. Whether you're lighting a theater show, producing a major concert, or building out a broadcast set, Mainlight delivers the gear you need to make your vision a reality. They offer a massive inventory of the latest moving lights, control consoles, trusses, LED fixtures, and durable IP65 rated gear that's perfect for both indoor and outdoor environments. From small-scale productions to massive stadium tours, Mainlight is known across the industry as the partner you trust with the gear you want. But that's not all. Mainlight also offer new equipment sales from your favorite brands and used gear pulled direct from their rental fleet. Every used item is rigorously maintained and backed by a 60-day depot warranty, giving you confidence and value in every purchase. With 3 strategically located facilities in Teterboro, New Jersey, Wilmington, Delaware, and Las Vegas, Nevada, you get nationwide access and the responsiveness of a local provider. Explore their rental inventory, request a custom quote, or browse their sales offerings online today at mainlight.com. Yeah, tell me what it was like when you got there and you meet these guys, and they weren't wearing like silk kimonos yet or anything. They were, but they were
pretty
weird.
ordinary.
They were weird. They were different.
They were electric, that's for sure. And we got along very well, except for the fact that they had this thing about Americans thinking everything is great. They referred to me as our token Yank. And they said, because one time I was up here And when I first met Raj, Getty was living on Yonge Street, north of the city in Willowdale. He used to tell me, if you want a good pizza, it's right down the street. It's called Pizza Pizza. And I went, really? And he goes, yeah, it's really good. Go there. So I go there, and it was like really not my favorite. It was actually quite awful.
Well, you're coming from New York too, right?
I'm coming from where they make real pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went back and I said, man, this pizza is not close to what we have down in New York. Oh, you fucking Yanks and blah, blah, blah.
That's hilarious.
And you think everything is better down there? I said, when you get down there, I will turn you on to a pizza that you'll enjoy. You know, and so I was like their sort of scout leader. It was,
Yeah.
I grew up, my dad was a drill sergeant, you know, and I used to get drilled to bed, and my dad was always had this heavy duty to instill honor, loyalty, you know, dedication, you know, work ethic.
Yeah.
And it was drilled into me quite heavily. So I just looked at this whole thing as a sort of like a military installation. And we're just going to go out and we're going to do 200 cities a year. And I'll take charge and make sure everything happens. And it was quite humorous along the way.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So when did your nickname come about, Hearns?
That was a very, you know, I try to tell someone this story, but I guess you have to be really old a geezer to understand it, because when I tell the story to people, I just had an interview with the Toronto Star, and that same question came up from the interviewer. And as I'm speaking with him, he didn't know what I was referring to when I was mentioning certain TV shows and certain actors like Dudley Moore and, you know, the Goon shows. And I was mentioning all these things that were happening in England, and he had no clue. So I said to him, like, just excuse me for a minute. Can I ask you how old you are? And he went, 25. I said, well, that explains it.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
why you don't know this. Well, what happened
hilarious.
was, there's a musician who's out there who was quite phenomenal named Brian Auger. It's a jazz B3 player. And he was with in the early 70s, or 60s and 70s, he was with a woman named Julie Driscoll. And they wrote a song called Season of the Witch. It was a big hit. But Brian is jazz B3 player, incredible. And he's actually the one who taught Keith Emerson how to play B3.
Oh, geez.
And I was the tour manager for Brian Auger prior to Rush. And Brian would watch this show called The Goon Shows with Dudley Moore back in England. And they had a character called Sergeant Hearns that would bark out orders to people. So he would call me Hearns because I was always barking orders like, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. so we can make this, we can get in the van and leave for the next city so we can make it on time. And, you know, things like that.
So that name came from him, not from Rush.
Right. But one day, the agency put him on as an opening act for Rush. And I was in the dressing room with Getty.
That's weird.
He poked his head in and he went, Hearns, how you doing? And then Getty and Alex went, what did he just call you?
Yeah.
And I went, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And that name just stuck after that.
Forever.
Forever.
Do they still
Even
call you that,
day.
or do they call you Howard?
Yeah.
They still call
I
you
get
Hearns?
emails. Yeah, I get emails. It's okay.
Crazy.
I call Getty Dirk, so it's
You call him Dirk?
Oh yeah, we have nicknames. Everybody has like 10 different names.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, we call each other different names all the time.
Where's Dirk come from? Forget.
That's Neil Peart called him Dirk. We all called him Dirk.
Okay. Yeah. And was Neil called anything other than the professor?
Frat.
Ah, I knew that. I actually knew that.
And then Alex was called Lurks.
Yeah, I knew that one too.
I made that one up.
And where did that come from?
It came from some friends I used to have that used to always end everything with an XSD at the end of whatever word they said. Right? So I would just call him that. And just everything catches on.
He just seemed like a Lurks.
Yeah.
That's
but,
funny.
I grew up in cars, vans, motorhomes, and buses with these guys for most of my life.
Yeah. That really is incredible. You know, it's really, I know you don't think much of that because it was your whole life, right? Like, so you watched them grow up, you watched them get big, you watched them get huge from there. And then you kind of watched them, you know, you watched all of the different stages of it firsthand. You were sitting right there. So it doesn't probably phase you so much until some fanboy like me comes along and goes, but what was he like? You know, or whatever, right? Like, because I grew up on the other side of all of this, growing up in Alberta, a bass player and singer. You know, what choice did I have but to become a huge Rush fan, right? Like right at that time, by the way, too, you know.
Or a
And
hockey player, one of the two, you know.
well, I sucked at sports, so I wasn't the greatest musician in the world either. But you know, I bought Taurus pedals and a keyboard that went dun 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 dun, dun. And I had to learn that whole and you know, I never played in a Rush tribute band because I just probably wasn't good enough. But and plus, there weren't really many back then. Like there was Click, and I didn't know of any other ones in Western Canada at the time. Now they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere, and they're really good. Like there are some great Rush tribute bands. Yeah, I just saw one yesterday. I think I'd seen them before. They wear like coveralls, orange coveralls, like Devo.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, what they were doing. They're wearing the coveralls from the moving pictures.
I never even put that together.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Wow.
So that's why they wear the coveralls, because of moving pictures.
But, you know, the long point is that you lived all of that stuff with those guys, which is so cool. And I'm sure going through it, it was just a job and all that stuff. But
no, they were like brothers, you know, it was like having, you know, three brothers to hang with. Everybody would always cut each other up and, you know, make sarcastic comments to each other. And
I can't imagine that from you.
No, me?
Well, you've got quite a sense of humor and stuff, so I can imagine that you were right in there with them on that stuff.
We're all in there, you know. We used to drive around in rental cars, and we had this fluorescent light that was in the back seat, so Neil could read while we were driving down the road for 500 miles. And everybody would be getting out of their minds on the way, you know. And
except you, because you were driving, of course.
I'm responsible. I'm out of my mind anyway, so
you're responsible for a lot of things. Like I remember when I watched the what was it called? All the World's a Stage or whatever, the documentary.
Yeah,
and
there were a couple. Yeah,
you kept appearing in there, and it's amazing how big a part of the story you really were. You know, and are, I should say. But I remember either reading or seeing on that show or something that you're the one who taught them that they could get bottles of booze on their rider.
Oh yeah.
They could order bottles of whatever they wanted to their dressing room, and they were like, "Really?" And then they started playing Bombed every night.
Oh, they actually were very, very focused. On playing. They didn't get out of their minds when they were playing. It was after the shows. Yeah. You know, after the shows, we had a good time, you know, unless I was driving, and then I wouldn't drink at all. Yeah. But there'll be other things I would do. Yeah. Yeah. To stay awake. They didn't have gummies back then. Yeah. Thank God, because I would have just sat around eating gummies all day, you know. It's like when I go to Canada now, the whole microdosing thing is legal up there. And, you know, I hadn't done mushrooms since I was probably 19 years old or something. And somebody goes, have you tried microdosing? Let me give you a few of these. And they're like these nice little capsules in a nice little proper, you know, pharmaceutical bottle and stuff. I know. And I tried it. And I mean, it was the most clarity I'd seen in years, probably. And it doesn't get you high or anything. It's just like, whoa. Am I ever thinking great ideas right now? You know, I don't know where you get yours, but the ones my nephew gave me some that were quite intense. Oh, these weren't intense. These are microdose, so they're like, you know, I think like 0.2 of a gram or something like that. You know, they're not, you know. Whereas we grew up like the garbage bags from under all the cow shit and stuff, you know, and you'd just take a handful.
You know, how many grams
I
is
grew
that?
up in the acid generation where we were
Yeah.
taking ridiculous trips for 8 hours to 10 hours
Yeah.
and sometimes longer. And it was
Yeah.
that I would not do now.
But isn't it crazy though that all these health guys are talking about that?
I know.
Talking about how hallucinogenics are really good for you, and can solve a lot of problems, with
Well,
depression and anger and whatever else,
my
So
old doctor, Dr. Timothy Leary, once told me that.
these are
I,
good for you. Take it.
I
Yeah.
remember when Timothy Leary, and for all you kids out there, father of LSD, but Timothy Leary was at an LDI one year, and he delivered a keynote speech.
I remember that
And
whole
it was
high end thing.
it was in Reno.
I remember
And
it well. Yeah.
and he started it off by going to the microphone and repeating 3 times, "Your eyes are the gateway to your brain. Your eyes are the gateway to your brain." Everybody was sitting there going, "Right on,
Whoa.
Timmy."
I remember that so well. That's hilarious. That was I'm sure Lowell was behind all of that.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
those guys. I actually had a conversation with Bellevue the other day. He's
Oh yeah, how was Richard doing?
he's awesome. He's the same frickin' Richard. He's almost 70 now, but he's the same guy, he's all tatted up and got all the cars and stuff and dating crazy women and
Yeah, he picked me up in a police car one day. It was
Oh,
kind
did
of
he really?
a black unmarked police car. And I
He's still
said to
got
him,
it. He's still
yeah,
got
I
it.
know. It's all like fixed up. It's got
Yeah.
aircraft landing lights. It's
He
like
leaves it in his
searchlights on the
driveway
side.
because he said people don't fuck with me when I got this thing in
No,
my
yeah, that's what he
driveway.
told me. He goes, when I drive from Austin to Dallas, everybody moves out of my way.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I said,
Yeah,
what are you doing with that thing? And he goes, it protects my house. I just leave
yeah.
it in the driveway and it protects my house.
There you go.
Yeah, he's as crazy as ever, but that guy's a genius. Like
He's brilliant. He is
one of the
brilliant,
people
yeah.
I have nothing but time for and just a huge amount of respect for. And he's always sort of been sort of kicked in the corner as a nut job or something. Like even at high end, when they were sort of on their way down a little bit, like before they sold to Barco, sort of at my last moments there were people kind of pushing to get him out of the company. And
Yeah.
the former CEO came to me and said, what do you think? Are you on board with this? And I said, hell no. Take my
No.
resignation now because, turn off the lights if that guy leaves the company.
I mean, that's why High End had such crazy fixtures all the time.
Of course.
Because it was him. And he owned the patents on all of them.
Yeah. Well, not even
company.
just the designs, but just the passion behind making sure stuff worked, like to a point where it was annoying to be in the company because he'd shut down production lines because somebody like Howard out on the Rush show found a problem with a Cyberlight and he'd stop all the production of Cyberlights until they figured out what this problem was. Like just completely stop it. And
that's, dedication and passion and
commitment,
love for what you do.
passion. Yeah. All of those things. And I love that guy. I still do today. Like he was,
Me too.
how the whole conversation started is I got an ETC marketing blurb about their 2 new fixtures, and God help me, I forget what they're called, but they have 2 new wash lights that look really cool. It's got like a Fresnel lens that's broken into like maybe 5 or 7 sort of pie pieces, and they can all move independently, and it's got this crazy zoom and stuff, and really, really cool looking fixture and really cool output, very bright. And so I had texted him and said, hey, I just saw the video on these new fixtures. Amazing. And so he calls me right away. Well, what do you think? What do you like about him? What do you not like about him? Because he's always enjoyed my input because I wouldn't bullshit him and tell him, like when the Nebula came out, I said, Richard, this thing's a turd. Like, what are you doing, man? This thing's garbage. It's spewing flaming oil all over people's fixtures and stuff. It's not going to work. But he's just in my. I like guys like that. I like passionate geniuses like that.
They're committed, right?
Yeah, And they're not just building something into a box that says this thing's going to be $2,000 and we're going to make 61% profit margins on it. He don't care about any of that stuff. Is it cool? Does it serve a purpose? Is it cool? And are my customers going to like it? Like, that's what's important to him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. So, back to Rush. So, I happen to love that story where you're sitting in an agency in New York and they're like, hey, go hang out with these crazy kids. And, you literally, like I said, you watched them grow up. You grew up around them. You were part of their gang, and it just never stopped for practically 50 years, right?
I know.
So,
I mean, who would have thunk, I was getting grief from my dad when I left to go to Canada. You're going to a communist country, and they're going to take everything away. I'm like,
that's so funny.
He's a military guy, so it's like communist country. I said, it's the best communist country you can live in.
Yeah. And so when did you actually take up residence there? Was it right away?
I slept on couches for a while. When I first got there, I walked into the Rush office and demanded 10 grand as a float. And they almost dropped to the floor because they didn't have any money.
Yeah. That's all the money in the world. You want how much?
He's like, who's this guy that just came in here? And, there was the accountant who was also the receptionist back then, was Sheila Posner, who's still, with Anthem to this day.
Really?
And well, it's not called Anthem, it's SRO.
Yeah.
And basically, she said, she was very nice. She just said, have a seat over here on the couch and I'll be right back. And she went into the manager's office and went, there's some guy here from New York that wants 10 grand now. What do I tell him?
He wants his hotel room held up or something.
And he wants to know where he's staying.
Yeah.
And he said, where is he from? And I said, so the agency in New York. And they went, oh. Now the agency told me that they were no longer going to pay me and I'd have to get my own deal with Rush, which was, so that was a whole other ball of wax. So once I met the band, and the management basically didn't know what to do with me. So they said, well, we can't afford a hotel. Maybe you should come and hang in my house. So they had 2 managers back then. So Vic Wilson, one of the managers, had said, come, I have a place you can stay at my house. Well, none of them lived in downtown Toronto. They lived outskirts.
Yeah.
And the management office was just like in a place called Thornhill. And I thought for the whole time I was there, for about a month and a half, I never saw downtown Toronto, but I thought that Thornhill and Richmond Hill and all these places that I was traveling into was Toronto. And I'm thinking, wow, what a small place this is. And, I'm coming from New York City and I'm going.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it was like Mayberry. And if, I'm sure that no one knows what Mayberry is.
Well, I do.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
It was a TV show.
Yeah.
It was a little small town with a lot of farmer type people, and that's Aunt Bee making pies. That's what it reminded me of. Anyway, it wasn't until maybe 3 months in where I actually discovered, that's Toronto. Why am I not down there? So then eventually I went from house to house, sleeping, in Vic Wilson's house. I had to sleep down with the St. Bernard. They were making food for the St. Bernard. It smelled like the Meadowlands, Secaucus, New Jersey. It was just horrible. And
that's funny.
Yeah, they used to burn garbage there.
But why were you there? Like, they're not touring, so they don't need a tour manager at this point.
They were about to tour.
Okay.
The agency signed them. They wanted me to be the tour manager. They wanted me to make sure they liked them in New York. So they sent me there as like an ambassador to ATI, even though they were telling me that the band is going to pay me.
And were you around when they were doing the drummer auditions?
I wasn't at the auditions, but I was around, even though Getty will argue with me about this. But one of their managers confirmed, no, you were here during the auditions. You just weren't at the auditions.
Oh.
Right?
So you were in Toronto, but
I was
you
in
just
Toronto because
weren't in the studio or
I was
whatever.
coordinating with the agency dates that they were proposing. First tour we were going out was going to be with Uriah Heep, but they wanted them to play some isolated dates. But they played a couple of days before I was even hired in the States, in some drive-in theater in Michigan, and they played some club in I think maybe the Agora in Cleveland before I was there. So anyway, this all was coming together. They had their record deal signed, and they had, their management was ready to go with the agency in New York, and I was just there to coordinate everything. So.
And they were touring the first album, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So, so then they find Neil. They find Neil.
They found Neil, and they were like blown away, and
Well, and then they started writing more complicated music after that, and I don't know if that had to do with the fact that he was like the sort of third component that maybe they didn't have with what was his name, Rutsey, right?
John Rutsey.
Yeah.
Oh, Rutsey filled his purpose in that band.
Yeah.
Neil changed the direction of the band.
Yeah.
And because Ged and Al they love progressive music.
Yeah.
So that just fed into, what they love. I mean, we all love The Who. That was unanimous. And, we all loved Yes. We all loved Genesis, bands like that were out there at the time that were very progressive.
Yeah. And I read in Geddy's book about the whole relationship with Rutsey on how he wanted, simpler music that girls would like and stuff,
Of course.
And which makes a lot of sense. In hindsight, he looks like an idiot, but at the time you could see that making some sense. Like look at all these bands playing normal music and they're getting lots of fans.
But he had an underlying diabetes issue.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go on tour. He was afraid that he would, something would happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, something happened anyway when he wasn't on tour. So unfortunately,
True.
So I mean, Rush has been through 2 drummers and now 3.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than 2 drummers.
I want to talk about that, obviously, but so still sticking back in the days then. So you go out on tour with Uriah Heep. You're their tour manager. You're figuring out at the time, aren't you, how to be a tour manager, or you had already done it before?
Well, I had done it with Blue Oyster Cult. I had to fill in for a couple guys that were there, and I did.
So you knew what the gig was.
So I knew what the gig was. Did I have a lot of experience at it? Well, I did Brian Auger before I did Rush. I did Blue Oyster Cult before I did Rush.
Yeah.
I went out to settle shows, so I knew about accounting.
Yeah.
How the deals were constructed back then, before this Live Nation 360 came out, right?
Yeah.
Which is Canadian driven as well. So it was a learning experience for all of us. And I just had a little bit more experience. But still, we all make mistakes. Right?
But it's funny because when you go back to the 70s, whether it's lighting or sound or just touring in general, the business was still shaping. Like it was being created. Yeah.
It was.
I mean, guys building their own sound systems and, Roth with his square park hands and, like everything was just being created. It was just being, it was starting to happen. And so the stories are just incredible always, It's not like there was this group of people who really knew what they were doing and nobody else did. No, nobody knew what they were doing,
Yeah, I mean, like Michael Tate was putting lighting fixtures in coffee cans,
Mm-hmm.
Back in the beginning. I mean, people were doing what we had to do. I discovered through a friend of mine, Tim Pace, a marine beacon light, which is an ACL basically. And I put it in a park can for the first time.
Yeah.
And basically, rented it out, through another lighting company in Virginia. And Little Feat was the first band to use them. And after that, I put them on Rush.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, those are back in the days of a company called Atlantis Lighting in Virginia.
Yeah.
Wow,
I forgot to mention this, but you were talking about Blue Oyster Cult and you going out and doing lasers with Blue Oyster Cult. I don't know if it's
I didn't do the
or
lasers.
they were doing lasers. You were
They
talking about the
doing
guy who
lasers
did, yeah. But I remember somebody gave me a Blue Oyster Cult ticket, and like right on the ticket, and I don't know, I was probably 14 or something, so this had to be like 70. It was probably somewhere between 75 and 78. And I remember right on the ticket, it said something about like, come see the spectacular laser show or whatever, right? Like it was all about the lasers. And I was like, whoa, lasers? I didn't even know what the hell a laser really was, but I was like, whoa, these guys have lasers? And my mind was blown.
Yeah, they did. And not only do they have lasers, they have fiber optic effects.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the lasers we were using fiber optics back then. And things with like remote scanners where you would take the fiber optic and
I knew that. Yeah.
You collimate it into a box that would have scanning in it. You would put it wherever you wanted it. Sometimes the lasers are too heavy to move.
Yeah. That's wild. The whole laser technology, how far it's come now. And the fact that, people keep telling me like on some tours, it's bigger than lighting. Like there's more laser heads than there are lighting fixtures. And
so on some tours there are.
It's not as much of a special effect now as it is just part of the lighting rig, it seems.
It's how it's used, Marcel. It's how it's used that makes it special.
Yeah.
So if you use it correctly as a special effect, it'll always be a special effect.
Right.
Unfortunately, once again, EDN has put in hundreds of lasers on their productions. So that is sort of where everybody leans. The more lasers, the better it is, but not necessarily.
Right.
Sometimes, the more creative energy is created around space.
Yeah.
And if you use that space wisely, which I like to do, is where you get the special effects.
Yeah, I had that conversation a couple of weeks ago with Alan Branton on the podcast, where it's, he had a similar challenge where it's like now because lights are so plentiful and they're all so good and they all do great things and they're all really reliable and stuff, people are using hundreds or thousands of them on every production. And it really does end up where a lot of things look alike, because they're all just like blah, this just huge blob of automated lights. And, I don't know. Like, I get that. I completely get that argument for sure. Like I think some bands or performers or whatever just look really good with just a bunch of follow spots or something, just light the artist.
Well, I had to do that once.
Yeah.
I did a show in Rochester, New York. And when I called the house lights to black, somebody threw a big gulp in the air. And it came down on my lighting console and drenched the lighting. Both lighting consoles. And shorted it out where I had zero lighting. And I had to do the whole show with follow spots.
The whole show?
Did. The whole show.
Oh, my God. Rush.
Everything,
Jesus.
Everything's ruined. And then at the end of the night, the band came to me and goes, "Was it a little dark on stage today?" I said, "Yeah." So someone threw the drink up in the air and it landed on my lighting console and shorted out both boards.
Wow.
The backup and the main board.
When was this? How long ago was this?
Oh, it was early 80s.
Yeah. Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Well, it'd be worse now. It'd be more freaky now if you had to do that. Well, by the way, the follow spots would be out too because they're in the rig and they're lighting fixtures.
Well, now,
so yeah, you're using all automated follow spots now, right? Yeah,
I am.
I think everyone does now.
Yeah,
is there any such thing as trust spots anymore?
Well,
people?
I'm told that the locals, the local IATSEs that really don't like going up there anymore. And there's not a lot of guys that want to climb. The older guys are the only ones that really knew how to do it and could run it. And the young kids, they're not interested in climbing up into a truss.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Unless they're working for a lighting company and they're forced to do it. Right?
Yeah. You think it'd be the opposite of that. Like, I know if you took my kid who's 21 and pointed at the truss and go, "Can you climb up there and go move a follow spot for this band?" And you'd be like, "Hell yeah."
Oh yeah.
Point me. Where do I go?
Yeah, but you have to know what you're doing. You just can't get in there
Well,
and go,
that part
okay.
he hasn't got, but
Yeah. Well,
he'd
that's the
certainly
problem.
climb the thing with a passion, you know.
Yeah.
Wait till you see him again, because he towers over me. He's 6'5", I think now, and like
Wow.
210 pounds. He's huge.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And last time you saw him, I think he was probably 2 feet tall.
He was drinking milk and eating goldfish in the bus.
Which again is a funny story unto itself, because you're like, hey, do you want anything, kid? And he goes, yeah, you got any goldfish? And you're like, well, as a matter of fact, I do. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little worried about this, Howard. Why the hell do you have goldfish in your bus and chocolate milk? You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
We had everything there.
Yeah.
Anything anybody wanted, we have it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So, you know, you've been doing Tool, you've been staying busy because I talk to you all the time. And then all of a sudden, at some point, I assume you get a call or an email or a text or something from Getty or Al or whoever saying, hey, we got this crazy idea.
That's not what they said, but they said, I got an email from Getty, and he went, hey, can you come to my house on Thursday at 1 p.m.?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, sure. What's up? He goes, you'll see.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that they were sort of like, you know, I talked to Al a lot.
Yeah.
So Alex told me that he would go over Ged's house and they'd be jamming all the time in the studio, in Getty's little studio there. And he didn't say much about anything other than he has another project called Envy of None.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I've heard it.
he had another album that he was, you know, recording. And so I knew that he was actively doing that. And Paul McCartney got Getty and Alex all fired up at the Taylor Hawkins tribute when he, you know, he was talking to Alex about how come you're not playing anymore? And he sort of wound them up to the point where Alex was thinking about it.
As Sir Paul can do.
As Sir Paul can do.
When a Beatle tells you get off your ass and start playing,
exactly.
What are you going to do, right?
And he didn't want to hear about it. And, you know, and then Paul said, actually, I think one of the comments was Paul said to him, you know why you should be doing this? And then when Alex went, why? He says, because that's what we do.
He's got a good point.
And that was it. And then I guess the next year it was all in his head. You know, yeah, he was having a little bit of medical issues happening, but he sort of got around all of that and he's got himself way more healthy now. And then I guess they decided to put this together.
Yeah.
So we all had for the first time ever in the history of Rush, we all had to sign NDAs, so keep it quiet.
Wow.
I had to keep it quiet for like, you know, months.
Oh, so you knew earlier, obviously, than this all got announced. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had to be sitting through meetings with them.
Sworn in. You know what, though? I do love the fact that, at least it appears, that they wouldn't do it without you. You know, like, to me, you're part of their family, and, you know, it would have been sad if it went any other way than that. Like, obviously, I wouldn't boycott them or anything, but I wouldn't be very happy if they didn't treat you well, going back out on this thing.
They have always treated me well, so
yeah.
And Getty,
well, they're Canadian. Canadians are nice.
Yeah, I mean, Getty actually said it when I won the Visionary Award in 2014 at LDI. He just said that, you know, he can't imagine doing it without Howard. So
that's cool.
He says wherever we are, it'll be like I did the Taylor Hawkins thing with him.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about it. Like
that was with Grohl, right? Grohl was the drummer.
That was Well, no, there were 3 drummers. There was Omar Hakim to do YYZ or YYZ, and then they had Chad Smith.
Yeah.
At one point doing 2112, and Chad Smith was doing
2112 was Grohl,
working band. 2112 was Grohl.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad Smith was working that.
Which was I couldn't believe Grohl doing 2112. He wouldn't have been You know what I mean? Like he's not
Well,
what I would call a technical drummer. He's a
he
basher,
was good.
but he's good.
He was good. And
Yeah.
the thing was that Grohl was the MC of that show that went on for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
He was the MC of that show. He was drumming with various bands. I mean, this guy was like, he
Yeah, he's a
was up
machine.
there. He's a
Yeah.
machine. And he was instrumental in getting the two guys in Rush over there.
Wow.
And, you know, I mean, Taylor Hawkins was a huge Rush fan. So was Grohl.
Yeah.
You know, I met Dave many times before. You know, we were hired by Dan Hadley to do lasers for Foo Fighters on the Concrete and Gold tour.
Wow. Yeah.
And we did the Taylor Hawkins tribute to the
Taylor Hawkins was such a talented guy. Like, talk about a guy who would have been a great replacement, you know, for Neil, like, because he could sing the high parts too. You know?
Well, it was Neil's hard to replace.
Yeah, of course.
I think Taylor would have a hard time replacing Neil.
Any of the guys in Rush are hard to replace. Like, how do
Well,
you
I
replace
know.
one of those three guys, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's hard.
yeah.
But, you know,
plus Neil did all the writing, right? Like he did all the lyrics.
Yeah, he was the
Yeah.
lyricist.
Hmm.
I know. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have a huge catalog now, so it's
So you go over there for the meeting, and
so I go there for the meeting, and
you sign the NDA.
The usual players, you know. We have every time we do a Rush tour, we sit down with Geddy's brother Alan and his buddy. He's an award-winning video director, Dale Hepsworth, and then there's Alex Lifeson, who comes and goes, but he's usually there. Myself, and Ged. And then we start brainstorming.
That's the group.
Yeah.
And what does Geddy's brother do?
He's a producer, a video producer.
Oh, okay.
Thusly, all the films and things. And
yeah.
And then Dale is a conceptual video director, so he comes up with the stage sets, what they should look like.
The washing machines and sausage makers and stuff.
Oh yeah, well, Geddy comes up with a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
And then we just make it happen, and then we place it, and then we just talk about placement of things. The only thing we don't talk about really is lighting, because they don't want to deal with that. They want to deal with how the show is going to look on the stage. Conceptually. They trust me with the lighting because of all these years. I mean,
so at this point, had they already picked a drummer?
Yeah.
She was already chosen?
Not only was she chosen, but she was already rehearsing with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so she's been over in Canada rehearsing. Cool.
Yeah, on and off.
Did you hear any of it?
No.
I'm dying to hear her because I didn't know who she was, Annika, right? I didn't know who she was, and I've watched 100 videos. Yeah, with Jeff Beck. I missed that tour though.
Before I even knew that she was going to be. But the thing is, Geddy's bass tech, Scully, John McIntosh.
Yeah.
He was Jeff Beck's tech out on that tour. So Scully was the one that said to Geddy, you should check out Annika. At me in the audience, sitting with my wife watching Jeff Beck, and there was a female bass player as well that was awesome.
Yeah, she was also really good.
I just kept saying to my wife, like, this drummer is insane, how good she is. And we walked out of there blown away. And, the fact that she's now in Rush is just amazing. Because,
it really is cool.
For years, Neil was taking drum lessons so he could learn how to hold the sticks correctly.
I remember seeing some of those videos with Buddy Rich and stuff, like where he was learning how to hold the sticks.
He took lessons from Freddie Gruber and was like,
yeah.
I mean, he was trying to learn how to hold sticks that way.
That's wild.
And here's Annika, who's like playing just like the way he wanted to play.
Yeah.
And
she is so good. She has such a groove, and all that stuff she does where she's playing 3 different songs between her 2 hands and her feet, and like just like one rhythm going over here and a different one over here and stuff. I'm just like, how does somebody do that? Like, that's just so hard to split your brain up like that, And
it really gets me upset when I hear the stuff on Instagram, the ads for Rush, and they call Neil's last name Peart. you know, and they say Niles wrong. And, you know, it's like, come on, get it right at least, you
Yeah.
know? The Rush fans know they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always called him Neil Peart,
That's
and
wrong.
until someone told me that, you know, that was wrong, but I didn't know. You know, like I grew up thinking that's what his name was, right? For
Yeah.
whatever reason, I don't know why. There was no internet, or Reddit couldn't correct me back then. Thank God Facebook didn't exist.
The best drummer in the world, I think. Really
Who,
is.
Neil?
He was, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Like nobody like him. He changed drumming. He's like the Wayne
I know.
Gretzky of drumming, you
He
know?
is.
Yeah, he changed drumming. Like if you think of before him, there was nobody like him. After him, there was thousands of drummers playing like him, you know,
I
because
know.
he created that. Like
He
he
spawned
really created the style.
generations of
He did.
drummers.
Yeah, he
Even that
did.
6-year-old kid, though, that I see on
Amazing. I love
Facebook,
that
he's
kid.
amazing. I
I
know.
love
He's
that
good.
kid. There are so many good drummers. Like, do you ever watch the guy who's smoking a cigarette with the big beard? He's from Turkey or something, and
No, I haven't seen
he
it.
does these like incredibly fast things with one hand. Like he'll do YYZ with one hand and smoking a cigarette and drinking a drink at the same time. And he'll do it with one hand and a snare drum and a tom and a kick drum. I'll send you a couple videos. This guy, I forget his name, but he is incredible. He's
No, that's
incredible,
wild.
the stuff that this guy does, how fast his hands and feet are. It's like insane, you know?
That's wild.
But you know, I would assume that for years there's been a long line of Usual Suspects sort of campaigning. You know, if you ever tour again, like the Mike Portnoys and such of the world who seem so obvious as a replacement for
But
Neil.
you know, the sad thing about it was after Neil passed away, it was very short, brief time where all these people came out of the woodwork trying to take that position. It was tacky. It wasn't a very good thing, right?
Yeah.
And you know,
so then they just went right out of left field and got a woman from Germany.
They made the best decision on this one.
I think so.
Sure.
I think so.
Yep.
Like I said, I didn't even know who she was. And, you know, now obviously I know that she was with Jeff Beck's band, and I actually meant to go see that. And I think I was out of town or something happened. But, you know, I've literally gone down rabbit holes and looked at every video I could find of her on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. And I'm obsessed with her drumming. I love her style.
When you see her live, you even like it a bit more. You know,
yeah. Are there any other like wild surprises that you can talk about or no?
Yeah, there's going to be a keyboard player on the stage.
I have heard that. And I got the impression, based on the video that him and Al did, where they sort of weirdly announced this whole thing.
Yes.
I got the impression that he was going to back off on vocals.
No. He wants to back off on keyboards. He's still going to play.
What it is?
He's going to play his synthesizer, but the keyboard thing really strapped him into. You know, he had to trigger everything. He had to play all the keyboard parts.
Yeah.
And he's a bass player. He'd rather be free to move around and sing.
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, one of his dreams is to just play bass.
Yeah.
Like what he did for Yes.
But that's what I kind of heard in that little speech that he made. I kind of heard that he wanted to back away from singing a little bit and focus more on being a musician, focus more on playing the instrument.
If it wasn't Rush, yeah. Like, you know, he would definitely play bass in another band for sure.
Well, it got me excited that I was going to start hearing all the really super high parts, the screechy old stuff done by some, you know, wannabe Geddy Lee guy that's, you know, on the other side of the stage or something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he'll do his best. You know, he's been practicing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, trust me, you know, I sang really well when I was young. I don't anymore. Like I don't know how the people who can do it, like the Steven Tylers of the world, who in their 70s can still sing like that, they have my applause because it ain't easy to do. Like, I don't know whether things shrink up or what happens, but, You just
No,
can't
you
hit
shrink
that.
up.
You lose the range. Yeah, that's what I
You
meant by
shrink.
things. Me.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, I shrunk up. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
all good.
I'm really curious to see how all of that comes together, and obviously, you know, any surprises from you, or is it just going to be an evolution of, you know, just the ongoing evolution of Rush from a lighting design standpoint?
I'm going to deliver a few surprises probably, and
Well, if
there's a
you
new
told me, it wouldn't
surprise.
be a surprise, right?
That's right. That's why I can't tell you.
Damn
But
it.
there's going to be some epic looks happening.
I'm sure there always is. Like, you know, I'm not blowing smoke, but I've been
No,
a lover of your lighting designs for many, many tours. I've seen Rush so many freaking times, like probably more than anybody I've ever seen, and a few times standing next to you at front of house. But you know, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know where I'm going to see it yet, but somewhere I'll see it somewhere.
okay. Well, let's figure it out.
Yeah, somewhere I'll see it. You know, I'd love to go in Canada, but it's just going to be too crazy in Canada. So
I don't know.
probably.
I mean, like I don't see it being too crazy in Edmonton. I don't see
Oh,
it
did they
being,
announce Edmonton?
Yeah.
When's that?
I don't know. You have to look.
Well, God damn it.
It's in the winter. I know that.
Oh, is it? I'm never there in the winter. I'm a
I don't blame
snowbird
you.
now. I leave
Oh
in.
yeah.
I leave in like I got back a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Are you part of the Snowbird Society?
I guess I am now. You know, I always thought of myself as a reverse snowbird though. Like I'm not coming to Florida. I'm leaving Florida to go to Canada during the summer, right? So I'm like but yeah, I don't know what you would call me now, but I guess I'm officially a snowbird because I'm in Canada from, you know, June to October and down here the rest of the year. So which works out. I mean, it's beautiful here right now, and it's getting,
Right.
well, it's actually still, like they've been telling me it's 12, 13 degrees in Alberta right now, which is pretty, those are metric degrees, people.
It's about this. Yeah. It's about the same here
Yeah.
in Toronto.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it's
mid-50s.
getting a little cooler now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is Canada, eh?
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that has been so controversial, or at least from things that I've seen, because I'm paying a lot of attention to this tour, is you know, people bitching about the ticket prices. And you know, it's interesting because on one hand, since COVID, the costs to put a tour out and to rent a lighting package and to travel and to, you know, have buses or even fly, all of the costs have gone up exponentially. But the ticket prices are magically supposed to be exactly the same. So that's not going to work, obviously, because when things cost more, whether it's, you know, the food that the band are eating or, you know, the transport or the packages themselves of technology or whatever, those costs end up in the ticket price. There's nowhere else to put them. You know, it's not like Howard's just going to get paid less or Ticketmaster's going to make less or somebody else is going to make less. All those costs get funneled through to the ticket price, obviously. So
I mean, when you look across the board at any band right now,
yeah, every
you know,
ticket's higher.
And if you're buying from a secondary seller,
that's
beware, because that's where the problem is a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Ticketmaster right now is the official ticket seller for Rush.
Yeah.
And that's who people should be buying from. And you'll see that there are tickets at $500, $300.
Yeah.
You know, but it's no different than any other concert that's out there right now.
Well, not just concerts, by the way. If you look at the World Series, like I looked, there were tickets that were like tens of thousands of dollars, you know, for tickets to the Toronto games last week. So
it's sad, you know, because it's only the privilege that get to go to these
which
events.
Sucks, you know, and it sucks for the artist. Like, I don't remember who it was who talked about it, but he's like, I look out now into the crowd and I see a bunch of billionaires sitting on their hands with, you know, texting on their phones. They're not even watching the band. They don't know the words. Right. They don't, like, they're there because they're these corporate giants or whatever. And, you know, somebody gave them the tickets. But it's the same at the Super Bowl. I don't know if you've ever been to a Super Bowl, but there are very few fans
any of those
there.
Events. Yeah.
There's very few fans there because tickets end up costing, by the time you pay the secondary prices, they're over 10 grand a ticket to go to the Super Bowl now. You know,
Exactly.
who's paying
Unless
that?
someone gives you a ticket.
Unless someone gives you one,
Like Jeff
which
Bezos gives you a
is
ticket.
extremely rare. It's
Yes.
extremely rare that someone calls you up and goes, "Hey, I'm dying to get rid of these 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. Do you want them? Nobody else wants them." Yeah, not likely. Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate or unfortunate or whatever, but for a number of years, I went with my ex-father-in-law. And every year, the Bears got him tickets for 40 years. Like he went to almost every game for 40 years. And so I ended up being his +1 for a lot of those years. And I'm a football fan, but I'm not a huge football fan. So like face value on the tickets was $1,000, $1,200, whatever it was, plus a flight, plus hotels, plus. So no matter how you slice it, it's a $3,000 or $4,000 trip. And I don't know, like for me to see a football game for $4,000 or whatever, I'm like, I don't know.
I mean,
I like my TV.
There are better things to do.
Of course.
You know,
But yeah, so I think they're getting a bad rap on the tickets. And then the other sort of myth that I've seen is that it's not selling well. And that was from someone in our industry who posted it on Facebook. Of course it is.
They got to be an idiot to say that. I mean, why would they do 4 nights in a lot of
in big buildings? Yeah,
big
4
buildings.
nights in big buildings, you know.
They're doing extremely well, and don't let anyone tell you they're not.
No, I'm seeing a lot of cities are sold out completely, even if it's multiple nights. All the nights are sold out. And then the other thing that's happening is they'll sell out 2 nights, add 2 nights, and okay, so those didn't sell out in the first day. That means it's not selling well. Like, stop already, stop. You know, I'm actually blown away by the interest in this tour. Like, it's huge. It's, you know, people who were never Rush fans. Yeah.
No.
There might be girls there.
There will be girls there.
Which is incredible. You don't see,
especially with a female drummer now.
That's true. Yeah. It'll all be DEI now. You'll have girls and trannies and everything. You'll have everybody. Everybody will be represented.
We will have diversity in our shows. Which is a very Canadian thing.
Exactly. I love it. But no, seriously, like the interest level has just been huge. Like I know tons of people who are flying from Calgary to Toronto to see the show, and which maybe they're regretting it now that Edmonton got added. But
well, I'll tell you, there are people flying from the UK and the EU coming to see shows. You know,
is there any talks of a European tour?
There's some rumblings. We're just waiting to see what happens.
And South America?
Yep. We're talking about all. We don't know, but we're talking about all of this.
I have a Brazilian employee who is a great guy named Gus, and he's a bass player and a singer. And but he's young. He's like in his mid-20s.
Right.
And his dog is named Getty. He's a huge Rush fan, just a massive Rush fan. And he's like, please, if you do a podcast with your friend Howard, can you please tell him to ask them to please come to Brazil? And I'm like, okay, I'll ask him.
You know something?
This is me asking you, Howard, please tell Rush to go to Brazil.
It's in the works. We're looking at everything right now.
Yeah. South Americans, like I remember if it was R30 or whatever it was, one of the videos that they did.
R30, yeah.
And it was in Rio, I think. And I remember them singing YYZ.
Oh, like, they were singing a lot of songs.
How do you sing YYZ? You know, well, there's no lyrics, no words.
Yeah, they go da 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 da.
Yeah, I know, it's unbelievable.
I know, that's what they were doing. Hey, they were also crying a lot there.
Yeah,
there were people with tears in there. Like they would come to the hotel where we were staying, tears in their eyes, bringing gifts.
Wasn't Mexico similar?
I don't remember Mexico. You know, it's kind of funny. Huh. I think it was, but I actually had to talk to Liam the other day. Ask him, "Hey, did we ever play Mexico?"
Well, I think you did really late, didn't you, or something?
Yeah, I think so. We did.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't remember.
And you had to add, like I remember something about having to add Closer to the Heart into the set or something. Maybe I read that in Getty's book or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So this could be one of those tours that just goes on for 3 years.
I know.
Could be your real retirement gig, Howard. You could kick back after this one finally.
I don't want to retire, buddy. I enjoy what I do.
None of us does. None of us does. In this business, you retire, you die. You know, it keeps you young and active and healthy and fit and all of those things. Well, and in some people's cases, I think it's all of the opposite of that. It does to you, you know, keeps you doing bad things that you shouldn't be doing and eating pizza in the back lounge and stuff. But what else? What else do we want to talk about here? I don't want to keep you all day, but I'm super excited about this tour. Like I think.
Listen, I am so excited about this tour.
Well, and I'm so happy for you. And tell me about who you chose as your assistant, because I think that's also something very, very cool and exciting. And I love it. It just shows who you are as a human too. You know,
I can't talk about my assistant at the moment because we have to find a lighting company before I can find my assistant. So I have to just
keep that quiet. Keep that on the down low. That's
correct.
All right.
But it'll be whoever it is. It'll be great. Like the years before, I've used Tim Greaves. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I used, Matt Drewsbick for a while. I used Keith Hoagland. I had Andy O'Toole.
Yeah,
I had
you've had some great ones. You've had some great people out there. Is it hard to be Howard's assistant?
It is.
I'm just wondering if I should apply for the gig.
No, you would not deal with me very well.
And I don't know how to run a console. I don't even know how to turn one on. So
then
I could get you coffees and beers and stuff. You know, like I could do some of that stuff.
I have all of that at my fingertips anyway. So it's
yeah. Damn it. I thought I had my chance. It's my chance. So are you saying I still got a chance?
Well,
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, there could be worse gigs, you know, being out on Rush for. Well, and I'm guessing this is no buses.
There are no buses on this one.
That's amazing. Have you ever done a no-bus tour?
No. We're spending a week in almost every city that we have the multiple shows in.
That is fantastic.
And even the ones that have 2 nights, there's days off between the 2 nights. So there'll at least be a minimum of 4 days in a city.
Wow.
You know, or I haven't even seen the travel arrangements yet, but I know that the last I heard, there were no buses.
Wow.
This is an all-flying tour.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited for you, buddy. I called
buddy.
you as soon as I heard about it, and I was like, dude, I am so happy for you. You know, you're just one of the good guys. You're one of the guys who deserves this kind of good things to happen.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I want to, I don't want to take your whole day. I'm so happy that you came on and shared a bit of information about this. I'd love to talk to you again, you know, maybe on a break from the tour next year or something. Sure. If there is any breaks, I'd love to hear how it's going and stuff. I'll certainly come out and see it at least once. And
I'll see you when you come out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the band. I mean, I'm sure it was an incredibly hard decision for them to make, you know?
Well, 100% on that.
There's no band that I can think of who are tighter than those 3 guys, you know, and the surrounding family, which you're part of as well. Right. I can't think of anyone tighter than those guys.
They're good guys.
Yeah.
They are very loyal to their employees.
Yeah.
And, you know, we basically kept the backline crew intact.
That's awesome.
Which I can talk about.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be a bunch of new people. There'll be a new upfront sound man.
Yeah.
Sound engineer.
That's interesting.
Mixer, new monitor mixer too.
Huh.
And they're all going to be great.
Yeah.
This will be a renewal tour, an improvement.
Yeah. They're not recording though, are they?
Don't know.
Huh.
We don't know. I'm sure they'll do something. They'll do a video maybe.
No, I meant recording. They're not recording new music.
Not that I know of, but they haven't shared any of that. No.
She may inspire them. You never know. Like
you don't. But this
again, nothing about Neil because greatest drummer in the world. But just having someone new and you know, 30 years younger than them and all of those things, like that could really inspire you to do some new music.
Yeah, well,
So
maybe it
who knows?
will. Who
We can
knows?
hope, we can dream, or
That's
I
right.
can anyways. All right, Howard. Well,
All
I
right, that's
appreciate you
cool.
taking the time to do this. Very, very grateful to you, and
Thank you,
happy as hell
Marcel.
for you, and
Thanks,
look
bud.
forward to seeing you. You're too busy to be at LDI this year, I know, but
Yep.
I'll see you sometime next year, if not
And I look
in
forward to
Toronto
seeing
before then.
everybody out there this year.
Yeah, cool. All right, Howard.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
See you, Marcel. Bye-bye.